Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, madam.
Okay, so today we are going to learn a very important concept in biology. So it's called ecological niche. And before we start, let's think about a fish lived in coral sea. So ecological needs is it's about life that depends on its other in an ecosystem. Okay, so what role do you think fish plays in sea area? Plays in its environment. What role do you think fish plays in its environment? Does it eat something?
Yes.
Okay, so in that way, fish it helps ecosystem in other forms of ways. Okay, so so ecological needs is about it's defined as a role or a job of an organism in an ecosystem. So that is what ecological needs is about. It's about its organism, the role it plays, and what they depend, other organism depends on them. Okay, so here's the definition. You can write it in your notebook. An ecological niche is the role of an organism in a community in terms of habitat it occupies, interacts with other organisms, and effects on the environment. Okay, so here, when you hear ecological needs, there are three important things you have to know about it. So, first one is habitat. And habitat is I'll explain for you the meaning of habitat. So habitat is the physical space where organism lives. For example, you can see here, you think about crabs. Where did you think crabs lives? So as we know, crabs live in mud places. So when we talk about habitat, that's what it means it means about organisms. So mud is where the crab lives, which define habitat. Okay, so interaction. How did you think that crabs interact? So crabs interact by eating dead plants or small animals so that they survive. So that is what interaction in ecological needs means. And thirdly, it says effects on environment. How did you think that organisms have an effect on an environment? So effects on environment, when we talk about crabs' lives, when it eats the dead plants or small animals, somehow it cleans up the waste and recycling nutrients. So that is what it affects on the environment needs about organisms. Okay, so another example is honeybees. So we know that honeybees lives in hives, and that is where the habitat means, and it pollinates flowers, it interacts with other organisms, and it also when it pollinates flowers become reproduced, and that is what effects on environment that particular organisms have for honeybees. Okay, so this is a small activity. You can pair in groups, and please refer to the definition of ecological needs. For first question is asked, define ecological needs in your own word. Apart from that definition, can you please think about the real life about ecological needs you may understand about? Okay, so if you have your answer, can you please say it, or I'll help you to answer. Okay, for second question it asks, what are the three main key points when you heard about ecological needs? You know there are three important things that it's about ecological needs, which we know we have explained. So if you can please tell me what you know about the three important key points I have explained.
I'll answer number one.
Okay, number one.
So, ecological needs simply means the role and position a species in an environment has, including its habitat and the way it interacts with other organisms in the same environment.
Excellent. Correct answer. Okay, the second question, if you may have understand, or if you have it clear, you can raise your hands.
So what's the question asking?
Okay, for number two it asks, what are the three main key points that include in an ecological needs? Okay, so sorry if you might confuse with the sentence. It actually means that when we talk about ecological needs, we know that there are three things that we should mainly know about. So from the start, I have said that ecological needs, it's about habitat and interaction and effects on environment. So when we talk about ecological needs, it's mainly about organisms that lives and what exactly that organisms depends on. So as we know that each organisms, when we talk about organisms or lives, we know that life where they live and how they interact with other organisms, and also the effects they have on an environment. For example, we say that honeybees lives in hives, so that is where their habitat is, and they pollinate flowers. And when they pollinate flowers, that's how they interact, because flowers is also another form of lives. So when honeybee came and pollinate that flower, or take the so when honeybee pollinate flowers and flowers reproduce, that is the effects the organism have for that environment. So that gives the answer for number two. And if you please tell me if you understand, or if not, then I will explain again. Did you understand the answer I have said here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So that concludes for our topic today about ecological If you have any question, please raise your hands. No questions? You all understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so